Time now to dig deep. Well, voters in New York City are holding their primary for mayor this week. It happens tomorrow. There are only 2 Republicans running, but there are 13 Democrats. So this is actually going to give us our first big glimpse as a nation into ranked choice voting, because New York City is the biggest jurisdiction to ever use that procedure.
All right, why don't you explain in greater detail ranked choice voting?
Yeah, and I'm a little skeptical of it, mostly because it's being pushed by Democrats. So I'm not exactly sure how it's going to benefit them, but there's something in me is like, this is going to help them more, and it's going to help Republicans. Yeah. Okay. So, but anyway, here's how ranked choice is going to work in New York. Everyone gets to vote for the candidate that they like best, just like a normal election. But then the voters also get to choose who they like second best and third best, and so on up to 5 candidates. So after the first round of counting of the votes, if no one wins a majority, and that's very unlikely in a 13-candidate race, the last place finisher is eliminated. So you recount the votes then with only 12 candidates. All of the votes for the person who is eliminated are redistributed to other candidates based upon the second choice in the ballots. And you run the tally again. If nobody has gotten to over 50%, you do the whole thing again. You eliminate number 12, you get to 11.
How do you decide who gets whose votes?
No, that's with the people on the ballots. They'll sign their ballots. So I like candidate A first, I like candidate B second, I like candidate F third.
Okay.
So you do that all the way through your 5 choices, top 5 choices. And then as candidates get eliminated, your second choice gets the votes then. And then the third candidate's eliminated. And so if you voted for the 2 that got eliminated, now we're down to your third choice goes to your third choice candidate.
And so the idea here is that it gives voters a greater sense of maybe that voters are not going to only vote for the candidate who can win, but the candidate that they believe or support
like
most
the
strongly.
Best. Right. So maybe it's fewer people having to vote, just hold their nose and vote. That's kind of the idea.
Because there's a lot of campaigns, a lot of elections out there where folks might not vote for the candidate they actually think would do the best job because they don't want to throw their vote away on that candidate. And so therefore they end up voting for someone that might be their second or third choice.
Exactly. And this way you get to specify who your second or third choice is. Now, the downside is the ballot for mayor is 2 pages long because they're having to have so many votes. The other downside,
Lord have mercy.
We probably won't know the results for possibly weeks because absentee ballots have to roll in and be counted too. This is from Fox News. Last year, amid the surge in absentee balloting, it took more than 3 weeks for the election officials to determine the winners in a handful of U.S. congressional primaries in New York City. So, look, you have to go through all the absentee ballots to decide who wins or who loses the first round and gets eliminated. And at that point, we could just be talking a couple votes here and there between 12th place and 13th place. And so you have to get all of the tally done before you can really even do the first cut and then start counting again.
You see, this is so convoluted.
It's complicated.
It absolutely is. I mean, look, it worked in 6th grade, right?
Okay.
Everybody went around and voted for who they wanted as class president.
Right.
At the end of the day, you found out who won.
Right.
Why not just apply a very simple process to this election here in New York City?
So here are the benefits. People that are promoting ranked choice, here's what they say. There's no runoff election, which can be costly because you have to pay for an election, and then when that one's done, you have to pay for another election. It's expensive. They also say maybe there's less mudslinging.
Wait a minute. You mean Democrats are concerned now about saving money all of a sudden?
On the cost of elections.
Apparently, yeah. This one, yeah. Whatever. Okay.
They're saying that maybe there's less mudslinging because you need the candidate that you hate, you need their second and third votes in order to ultimately win. That's the theory. But it doesn't seem to be the result. This is from Real Clear Politics. Quote, "We do not see more civility. We see more Machiavellian machinations. Ranked choice voting hasn't made the New York City mayoral race more civil, only more strategically complicated." Here's an example. Andrew Yang, who ran for president, and I think like 5 people voted for him. Andrew Yang has criticized Eric Adams for not having a bathtub in his Brooklyn home. I'm not kidding. That's part of his campaign strategy. He's insulting a man for not having a bathtub. And I don't know. That's not dirty politics. I'm not sure what it is.
Okay.
The candidates know ranked choice is happening, so they've been trying to make deals with each other. I'll tell my supporters to put you as their second choice if you'll tell your supporters to put me as your second choice.
So there's two campaigns going on. One campaign is being targeted to the voters.
Right.
The folks who actually count. We, the people.
Right.
And the other are backroom deals being made with all these other candidates.
For example, this is again from Real Clear Politics. Former Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia and former presidential candidate Andrew Yang are campaigning together. Now, they don't like each other necessarily, but they're going around together trying to get each other's second votes. Garcia is maybe the most experienced candidate in the race. Andrew Yang ran for president and has never held political office, and he lost that presidential race bad. But both of them are trailing Eric Adams, the Brooklyn borough president. So Adams isn't making any ranked choice deals. Yang and Garcia in second and third place, according to the polls, are. Yang encouraged his voters to vote for Garcia, but then she didn't tell her voters to do the same thing.
Oh, my Lord.
It's really complicated.
You know, I can see ranked choice voting in the Constitution. Don't they have that in the Constitution? No. I mean, didn't our founders say, what a brilliant idea this was?
They didn't do that. By the way, here's also from Real Clear Politics. The candidate who leads after the first round almost always wins in the end, 96.2% of the time. We'll find out this week.
Lord, help us all.